source for the sports gamer.
Welcome back, sports gamers. It's the Natural. I was able to have a one-on-one sit-down with Formula One game director Lee Mather to discuss F1 2019. I got some hands-on with the game, and we discussed many topics from leagues, the expansion of career mode, customization in the game, and pretty much everything that's new with F1 2019. Now, our detailed review of the game is in the works and should be out shortly, so drop a like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you don't miss it. Let's get right to it.
Okay, yeah, so I was talking about leagues and how a lot of people I think would like to take part in league racing, but it's quite a daunting thing, and you see all these professional leagues with very high quality players, and it's like, I'm not good enough for that, but you wanted to take part in that sort of racing, so you can now in the game create a league, and it'll be hosted on the server so people can come and join when they choose to. You can manage the league with your friends, so you can have admins who manage the league. Also, it may be that, say I've entered a league on a Monday evening and I can't make the race, I can ask the rest of the guys to vote on maybe we can move the time or the date, so we could all come back again on Tuesday. So it's all managed within the game, so there's no need to deal with it outside of it.
How many are there, like seasons? How the league runs, or seasons of games, or?
It depends how the admin wants to set it up. You can set a league up that runs over a few races, over an entire season. You can set it up totally how you like. So I mean, I can go to here now, look and find a league, and you'll see, there we go, a selection of leagues there that I can choose. Or I can do an advanced search, and you can see here, I can search obviously by name if I've got a friend who's set one up, or I can choose leagues that run on certain days, certain times, location in the world. So I race with people who are, in the same location as me because it makes it easier. I can search based on the length of the league. So a long league could obviously be 6, 7 races, 10 races. Full season obviously is all 21. So it's fully configurable. So it's a great way to get people racing online, build that competitive element, and get people racing against players of the same skill level so they don't feel intimidated by it.
Players like me.
Same as me. I mean, I'm pretty good at the game, but I know I wouldn't go in there and race in one of the professional leagues. I'd go in somewhere just a little bit below that. It'd be good fun. And you can see there we've got a calendaring game as well, so you can always see your league schedule. So if you're running in more than one series, you've got plenty of visibility of that as well.
And there have been some players that actually went on to be like pro racers or level. Your game is so realistic that's happened, right?
Yeah, we've seen that already from last year's and the year before from the esports series. So the guys who've come through the esports, some of them have gone on to race in real formulas. So we had Brendan Lee went and did the Race of Champions. He took part in that. And we've got guys at the moment racing. I think there's one of the guys racing in one of the BMW M4 race cars in one of the GT series. So it's certainly becoming the fact that the skills that you can learn in a racing game are becoming transferable into real life. Really quite.
I think that's pretty much the only esport that we've ever seen that. I don't think we've had any FIFA or 2K NBA player go and join a real professional league and try to play. It just wouldn't transfer, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've said that before. It's like, I could play FIFA, but I'm never going to be able to play football. Whereas I can drive a car in a game and I can drive a car in real life. So it's more translatable. It relates way better.
All right, any other features of note?
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, we sort of segued into the multiplayer because that's what we were talking about. But probably one of the biggest changes to the game this year is when you start your career now, before you move into Formula One, you race in Formula 2. So, as in real life, drivers usually come through into Formula One through feeder series, through a different style of motorsport. So, in this case, Formula 2 is one of the key feeders for Formula One. So, not only have we included the 2018 Formula 2 Championship in the game, we've created a 3-event feeder for the Formula One series. So, it's building a story for the player. It's setting you up racing against 2 rival characters, one who's a friend, one who's an antagonist. So one's your teammate, the other one's somebody who wants to beat you more, and it builds a story as you go into Formula One. So you get to race against them. The outcome of the races then feeds into the press and also into the cutscenes that you see after the races. So it could be one of the guys who's really unhappy with you, so he comes over, he's more argumentative, there's a bit more friction.
I think there's some real crossover here you guys are missing out with Ricky Bobby, crossover appeal there.
Great film, absolutely awesome film. So but again, it's that sort of thing. It's building that connection. That it's all about in Formula One. Someone like Lewis Hamilton, for example, he's got rivals that he had formulate when he was in karting. Him and Nico Rosberg came all the way from karting into Formula One together, and that's the sort of journey we're trying to start building with things like the Formula 2. So you race against the 2 characters. You've already got an invested interest in them when you reach Formula One. You like one of them, you dislike one of them, depending on how you feel. Some people like the bad guy. Some people warm to a bad guy, don't they? So
last year was the first year you had something similar to that, right? The career mode with the reporter and all that. So you expanded upon that. Is there more dialogue, more story now this year?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. So we had the interviews last year, that's in the game again this year. We've expanded on what they ask and how that's interacted with. So now you'll be asked questions about your rivals as well as what's going on in the main sort of career season and what's going on against all the other drivers. So they'll pick out on what happened in the Formula 2. So you'll come through obviously with these 2 other rivals. We didn't want to have like a too long a period before you reach Formula 1, but it's a great opportunity to just build that story, because it's what the drivers have. They have a story. We know the player will have a story as well. So I think I mentioned while we were talking about multiplayer, we were talking about the competition points that you can spend. So if you look at the screen at the moment, I'll just go into customization. So this is all new. We've never had this before in game. So I can customize my badge, which represents me on my profile. I can customize my driver. So I can go in here, I can select how I look. I can select my race suit, my helmet, my gloves, and I can customize some of these items as well. So I can obviously use the points I've earned to purchase these items. So if I want to change my helmet, for example, I can go in here and select a new design.
Are there any custom designs, or all preset? Is customization like manual or just all preset?
Yeah, so we offer a selection of pre-designed skins and designs, and the player can adjust a number of colours on them so they can personalise them. So there's a large number of unique things you can do to them. So you won't see somebody wearing the same helmet, because I can change all of these colours. So if I select this helmet here and I do that, I can change those elements to any colour I want. So it actually gives me total freedom to customise the helmet to how I like it. And then obviously we were talking about the customization on the car. This is something we've never been able to do before. This car was designed between ourselves and Formula 1, so it's a 2019 style Formula 1 car, and it gives us the opportunity to apply some really cool skins as you can see on screen. That's something we've not been able to do before. Again, it gives a really personal element to the car when you're racing online. People will go, okay, well, that's the car that Lee races online because that's the skin he chose, and then I can obviously set the colours to suit how I want it to look, so I can personalise the car to become my car. And I think that's a really big thing for us this year, is giving the player online more personalisation.
So this car here, does this follow them through all the modes, or what modes would your customized car be available?
So the customised car is used in the online element of the game. So you'll race this in leagues, you'll race this in, depending on how they're set up, you'll race it in the ranked play, and you can also race it in the unranked play. But of course, if you do want to race the real Formula 1 cars as well, provided the league set up that way, you can race a real Formula 1 car, and you can obviously race those in the unranked play as well. They'll also be used in weekly events, so you'll race for real Formula 1 cars in weekly events, be that classic or modern. And then there's a couple of other cool things we've done here as well. So we always want to showcase the new stuff in the game. So we've got a showroom, so you go into the showroom and you get to see how cool the cars look. It really showcases the great work that the car team do every year modelling these vehicles. We've got a little bit of history on each of the teams, a little bit of information. So again, it's just got educating people on the world of Formula 1. You can see we've also done the same with the classic cars. I think these are particularly awesome because they're in a more of a museum setting, so you can see just how cool the location is as well as the car itself. So you can see here, these are the Formula 2 cars. They look smaller than Formula 1 cars. They've got more weight, so they've got different engines. They don't have all of the technology of a Formula 1 car, but they're still incredibly fast cars. Great fun to drive, and it's a great different experience to have the different styles of handling. And another thing we've added to the game this year is the theatre. So at the end of a race now, you might not want to sit and watch the whole replay, but we take roughly a minute of all the most exciting bits and put them into one replay for you, so you can go back and watch the highlights of your race, which I think is a really nice feature as well.
One cool thing I did while I was playing Grid earlier, and I know it's a totally different type of game, they had like a rewind function built in there. Is that something that you guys would look at or have in the game as well?
We have the flashback as well, yeah. We've always had the flashback feature in Formula 1 games because they are notoriously difficult, and it makes it a lot more accessible for people to be able to correct those mistakes. So you can learn a corner by rewinding, trying again, rewind, try again. You have a crash, you can rewind. So you can play with all the damage on and completely smash the car up, and then rewind and go again. Yeah, so it gives you that chance to get what you want out of the game.
I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Big thanks for Lee for taking the time to talk with me. He is a really great guy, and it was one of the most enjoyable interviews that I've had. If you guys think we should have more Formula 1 and other racing games on the channel, let me know in the comments below. If you do appreciate the content we bring to you guys here at SGO, please support our Patreon. The link is in the description below. And as always, drop a like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you don't miss more from your favorite sports games here at Sports Gamers Online. This is The Natural. I'm out.